Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
So the Green Bay Packers squeaking by the New York Giants 27-20 to get their sixth win of the season, improve to 6-3-1 on the season. It's a Victory Monday, which I'm happy they got the win. I'm excited they got the win. I'm glad they got the win. I'm relieved that they got the win. That may be the best way to kind of put it. Relieved that they got the win. But it's fair to also feel, I think, all right, a little frustrated, a little nervous, because the thing that frustrates me the most, I think, from watching that game on Sunday was the Packers continuing to make it more difficult on themselves. Dropped balls on the offensive side. Hell, dropped balls from the corners. I mean, it felt like the corners had just as many drop balls as the Packers receivers did. So, and then you got, injuries to Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love missing some time there too. Offensive line, I mean, the amount of pressures that they were giving up, Jordan Love felt like he was under duress quite a bit. So glad about the win. I'm happy about the win. And again, I'm relieved about the win, but I think it's also fair to acknowledge and for it to say okay, but I'm still a little bit nervous about this team. And that's where I'm at. And when you look at the next 7 games, the next 7 weeks, the end of the schedule here, things are going to get really tough. Not to get too far ahead, but I'll say right now, I think Minnesota's a must-win. The Giants were a must-win. I think Minnesota's a must-win. Part of it is because J.J. McCarthy's not playing well. You're going to be at Lambeau. I think you have to take advantage of that, and you have to get that victory with the Minnesota team that's struggling right now. Take advantage of that. Get your 7th win. I think Green Bay, in these last 7 games, at minimum have to win 4 to get to 10 wins. You have to get to 10 wins. Ideally, I would like them to get to 5 wins. Is there 4, is there 5 wins in the final 7? When it has 2 games against Minnesota, 2 games against Chicago, 1 more against Detroit, 1 against Baltimore, 1 against Denver. Can they find 4 to 5 wins in there? I think they can if they can beat Minnesota starting this week. But we'll talk more about Packers, Minnesota coming up later on and such. Back to this game against the Giants, though. For last week, for all of us, and I say us because I was part of it too, questioning Matt LaFleur, questioning a little bit about Jordan Love. I don't fault them, either one of those guys, for the performance by the Packers against the Giants. I don't. And in fact, I think if you really pay attention and you really watch that game, Jordan Love played some solid ball. Don't box score scout it. Don't look at just the stats, because if you do that, it's going to tell you that he was awful. That Jordan Love did not have a good game. That's what the box score will tell you. The box score is going to tell you he was 13 of 24 for $174 and 2 touchdowns. It's not eye-popping numbers, right? Overall, the offense, 168 yards passing. Rushing-wise, 128. 40 yards for Emmanuel Wilson on 11 carries. 40 yards for Josh Jacobs on 7 carries. Combined effort, not bad. But stats aren't going to tell you that story. Given the dropped balls by these receivers, the offensive line, and the injury to Josh Jacobs, I give Matt LaFleur some credit too. Now, I think a big part was Matt LaFleur also let Jordan Love cook a little bit and let Jordan Love throw more vertical instead of horizontal. What I mean by that is not throwing behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage, but throwing more down the field. I think that was a part of it. And depending on how long Josh Jacobs is going to be out, I think they have to continue to do that, to continue with that same type of mindset. But build upon this now. I want Matt LaFleur to build upon this. And, the whole Malik Willis thing, when he came in, lead the team down for a touchdown. Perfect. Awesome. And yes, does it look like Matt LaFleur maybe calls a better game when Malik Willis is at quarterback? I understand that. But I also feel like, okay, the Giants were a bad team in stopping the run. If there was a game for Malik Willis to come in and kind of really utilize his legs and feet, it was probably a game like that. But I also feel like Matt LaFleur, when he gets down to the basics or gets down to like, okay, not maybe trying to force feed Josh Jacobs in the running game a little bit more and just puts a little bit more on the shoulders of Jordan Love, that's when things start to click a little bit more and you start to get into a little bit of a rhythm more. And I think we're going to see, I hope we start to see that a little bit more with Jordan Love maybe throwing the ball a little bit more. Again, we'll depend on Josh Jacobs. And I'm not saying, and I've been saying for the last couple weeks, don't ignore Josh Jacobs. You still have to get the run going. You still have to establish Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is one of your better players, not just offense players, but one of your better players overall on this team. You have to get him involved in the football game. But I think sometimes you get to a point where you become too reliant on it. And it affects other areas of your offense. With him out of that game, I think it kind of inadvertently maybe forced LaFleur to like, okay, maybe let's open it up a little bit more. Maybe you have to be a little bit more aggressive. I think sometimes as play callers, as coaches, you just get a little bit too reliant on your safeguards, maybe a bit. And maybe this is a good lesson for LaFleur going forward. This is a good lesson for him in terms of play calling going forward. Makes sense? I hope that makes sense. But, again, I don't fault, and yes, there is to a point too. I will say this, that, okay, even with the offensive line play struggling, that is up to Matt LaFleur to game plan around that, and that is exactly right. That is 100% right. So maybe we see Jordan Love moving a little bit more in the pocket. Going to the sidelines, rollouts, that sort of stuff, bootlegs, something like that, just to get away from that pocket or move the pocket. But I think one thing, too, was interesting was Luke Musgrave played just 2 snaps in the second half. That's it, 2. Fitzpatrick and Wiley played the majority of the snaps. Now, I think part of that could be, drop passes, not affecting the game in the passing game, but also with the offensive line struggles, Fitzpatrick and Wiley are better blocking tight ends. So I think it's part that, Luke Musgrave, not a good blocker, so they wanted some extra blockers in there at the tight end position. But also maybe part of production. Green Bay's offense likes to play an offense where they'll give you a certain look, but have multiple options or multiple plays come out of that certain look. And if they want a tight end in line to help block, but also be a pass catcher, that's not going to be Lucas Musgrave. But they still have to figure out ways to get Lucas Musgrave the ball down the field. That's where he can still affect games. Running up the field, running up the seam. Being a downfield threat from the tight end position. If the offensive line was playing better in terms of production, Lucas Musgrave probably would be a better option right now. But right now with the offensive line play, you kind of have to incorporate those other tight ends. I get it. I understand it. But I will say this. I would like to see Matthew Golden and Christian Watson a little bit more involved within the offense. I think they've earned it. I know Matt LaFleur likes to spread it out, not really pinpoint on anybody, but I think Christian Watson deserves to be a little bit more of a focus on this offense. And I think Matthew Golden does too. You're talking about 2 speedy guys, deep threat guys, but also probably your 2 most reliable targets in terms of catching the dang football. No offense to Romeo Doubs. I think he just had a bad day, but he's kind of your middle of the field option, I would say, now that Tucker Kraft's gone. Golden and Watson on the outside, we got to utilize those guys a little bit more. And maybe with no Josh Jacobs, depending on how long he's out, he might even play this weekend, who knows. But I think we got to find ways to get them more featured within this offense because they're super talented to not be focal parts within this offense. That's just my thoughts. So, happy about the win. Thankful for the win. Relieved with the win. Wasn't the prettiest outcome. Or wasn't the prettiest way to get that win. Defensively, we saw guys, especially in that first half, converting third downs, middle of the field. I blame mostly the linebackers like Quay Walker. I don't know if there's just some miscommunication going on or they're just not dropping back deep enough in their zone assignments. They got to clean that stuff up. You have to be able to get off the field on third down. You can't allow screen passes, 3rd and 12, and pick that up for a first down. Not against some really good teams. If you want to be a Super Bowl caliber team, that cannot happen. Get off the field when you have an opportunity. Get a pick if you have an opportunity. Can't let it hit your arms multiple times, your hands multiple times. Have to come away with those. So the defense isn't, they don't get a pass either. They left a lot out on that field. They left a lot of big play opportunities on that field. And it was frustrating at times. I mean, especially like long drives, allowing long drives. And this is where I'll be a little critical too with LaFleur, when I think it was the defense had just gotten off the field after allowing the Giants, a 9-minute drive. 3 and out right away. 3 and 2 shot play. Yes, Watson should have caught it. He should have caught it. But at the same time, I think you have to have the mindset of like, okay, is this the right call? Should we do a shot play here when our defense was just on the field for that amount of time? Let's give them a little bit of breather. Let's do a quick, just pick up this first down and try to extend it. That's got to come into play here too. That's just my opinion, though. But we got 7 games left to go here. And it's going to be a brutal stretch. I just hope, did they find something? Did they find a little bit of rhythm from this game on the offensive side in terms of the passing game that they can build off of? I hope so. And this offensive line, please, guys, you got to play better. You just got to play. You got to win at the line of scrimmage. And if this is the way it's going to continue to go, that's where Matt LaFleur and his offensive staff has to figure out how to game plan around that. Let's talk some more Packers. My guy, Justus Cleveland, joining me now. I think an interesting question that you posed, is it possible with this Packers offense, do they have, because what was it, last year, the year before, hey, do they have a number one? Do they need a number one wide receiver? That was that debate. Well, no, you spread it around. And I think there's merits to each. I think on one hand, a lot of maybe Packers fans got tired of seeing Rodgers pinpoint just Devontae Adams instead of, everybody's going to go to like the 49ers playoff game, right? That deep throw and, Allen Lazard's wide open across the middle and that sort of stuff. But on the other hand, when you need a catch, when you need a play, it's always nice to have that one go-to guy that you can consistently trust, or a game wrecker. Like, I don't think anybody doesn't want a Devontae Adams in his prime on their team, for crying out loud.
Right? I mean, they had one.
Yeah.
It was Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
That was their main guy for most of the season, and obviously he's gone. So now you kind of got that void of who is going to be that clutch guy, and I think we saw Christian Watson do that.
Yep.
Is that going to be the consistent thing? It's tough for him to take shots down. When you're not getting those big, deep plays on a consistent basis, that's where people start questioning, is there a number one receiver? And I don't know if that's so true with his team. I think a lot of it still comes down from those protection breakdowns.
Yes.
And not having that ability. But then again, that's on LaFleur to start moving Jordan Love around. We saw a lot of that with Aaron Rodgers when that protection wasn't there.
Yep.
Of moving him and letting him throw on the run. I think Jordan can throw on the run.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody has the Aaron Rodgers ability to throw on the run, but we saw when they faced each other, both of them having that same boot throw.
Yep.
That they both could have the pretty great arm strength. So
yep, exactly.
I hope. I don't know. I would right now, if I had to, I'd put Christian Watson as your one. But again, you can't discount what like Romeo Doubs does in the trenches there, and then having the ability to have those young guys step up when you need them. And if one of them emerges, it could happen. I just don't think they're going to be game planned as much as like Romeo and Christian Watson at this point, or even when you get some of the guys that aren't healthy back,
like a Jaden Reed or something like that. And I just wonder, like, I think Matt LaFleur always talks about, hey, we've got certain packages for everybody. We don't like just pre-plan a lot for one guy or pinpoint on one guy and that sort of thing. And I understand that. There's merit to that. But I honestly wouldn't mind if they started to maybe incorporate more for a guy like Christian Watson, maybe a little bit more for Matthew, because I think we all know the talent is there for Matthew Golden. We're just not maybe seeing enough of the opportunities.
Right, and that's a tough thing when you come in as that high pick as a wide receiver, because those expectations are outstanding. And then we've, for years, have talked about how that learning curve for wide receiver in the NFL is huge.
Yep.
And for every Justin Jefferson, there's 20 other receivers that have been picked that have taken either time to develop or never developed at all.
Yep.
So I'm not going to write him off at all, and it's good because he doesn't need to be the main guy.
Right.
So I think that he can.
He may be frustrated, and I think he is to a point.
Yeah.
He's not getting more, but hopefully it doesn't fester a little bit.
Yeah.
The whole Malik Heath situation kind of seems like, I wonder if there was some frustration from him and he let it be because Bo Melton's getting more reps ahead of him now.
Yeah.
I think there was probably, I know Matt LaFleur didn't want to talk about it after the game.
When you're left for, just team decision, there's usually something there.
Right.
If there's smoke, there's fire, usually with those situations. So.
Yeah.
And do you think they thought they were going to sneak things by with the Bo Melton thing 2 weeks ago?
I think they did.
I think they're like, okay, we're going to come with him. He's going to be our secret weapon.
Yep.
And it just
I think they did. And he made a nice play with the end around yesterday using his speed in that, but then you didn't really see him a whole lot after that.
No. I think the game before they were trying to be
too cute.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, this is we don't have Tucker Kraft. This is going to be our guy. We're going to sneak in there and see if they have any plan for him. And it just didn't work. Nothing worked in that game, honestly, in the offense. So.
No, it didn't. So, and, it might just take one play, too, but, it was such a huge play by Savion Williams yesterday.
Yes.
That third down contested catch. And, and here's the thing, too. I will say that I think Love so far does a better job than what Rodgers did in a situation like that, third down. Got to have that first down. To go to a guy like Savion Williams,
right? To
give him a chance to make a play like that. I don't know if Rodgers would have done that. That's where I think that pinpointing to that one guy would have gone. We're like, okay, we're 17.
Yep.
That sort of thing. Where he could have been triple teamed, and we've seen him get triple teamed, and you're still throwing it to. But Jordan Love, giving that guy a chance to make a play, is where I think we see Love do that more than maybe what we saw Rodgers do.
Yeah, because Rodgers is a guy who didn't want to turn the ball over.
Right.
So he wasn't really going to throw into traffic too much, but he might. But just
if Devontae's there, he might.
Yeah. But
because there's that trust factor.
Love also just has that unique ability of throwing that ball either by design, and it's a lot of credit to the receivers making those catches, but where there's one place for it to kind of go above the defender.
Kind of floats it a little bit more,
And these guys know when they need to time the apex of their jumps and just somehow are able to come. Watson's in the end zone was kind of the same thing, too.
Yeah.
And the one, was it the Willis one? Now that has nothing to do with Jordan. I had no idea. I thought that ball, he was dead to the rights. And then for him to somehow find that window, too.
Yep.
And it, again, that goes a lot with the receivers staying with it, too. So I think it's a talented group. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of being able to find a way to have enough time to get it to them.
Right.
That's been the major issue.
And I think, with the Malik Willis thing here to kind of wrap it up, when he comes in, I do think there is a confidence from that receiving group that, okay, he comes in, we still can move the football.
Yeah.
They saw it last year, but they saw plays from it last year. And I think that's a big difference for a lot of teams, too, if a backup comes in, if those receivers don't have confidence. I'll go to this, when last year, Devontae, I think it might have been Jordan Love playing in that Kansas City game. The body language from Devontae was just kind of he didn't look like a guy who trusted Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference with Malik Willis with this group, that they trust Malik Willis.
Right. I'll be surprised if Malik Willis is on that team next year because the way he has played stepping in there, somebody's going to probably give them an offer that it's going to be hard for them to refuse, especially when you need O-line help.
Yeah. And I hope Malik cashes in somewhere, but I also hope, too, if he can, double dip and go to a system that's actually going to placate to him.
Right. Because you're going to hate to see it, because I think back to the Matt Flynn.
Yeah.
Goes to Seattle. It's not his system.
No.
Russell Wilson's there, who's a perfect fit for that Pete Carroll system that they had there.
Yep.
Matt Flynn, to his credit, makes the money.
Yeah.
You can't deny it. People are he made all that. It's they signed him. What was he going to do? He had a 6-touchdown performance against the Chiefs the year before.
The Lions.
The Lions.
That last game,
yeah. They lost to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But
a perfect season.
Yep. So, I think if he can find it, and I think if the team can, I don't know, do you know his contract situation? If
he's a free agent after this year.
Free agent. So, it's going to be tough for them to pony up that much money when you need that help on the line. So